Welcome to the Lift Your Story podcast with guest Cetvies. Please note this episode has sensitive information.
Hi, everyone. I am Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I am with...
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, and we would like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
So in this episode, we have a topic that is a little bit off from what we usually speak about. It is very serious, and we're very pleased to have Cetvies. She is a blogger, and she's going to continue with what we're going to be speaking about today. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes, thank you. So let me ask you the question. You know, you're talking about human trafficking. Now, here in the U.S., that's a big deal right now. Donald Trump started a big movement to end human trafficking. Child labor, sex slavery, sex trade with kids and women. It's a big worldwide movement now. Are you seeing people take up that banner and run with it?
I've seen I've seen a lot of people trying to do their best on Facebook. To be honest, they reignited what I used to write, because originally I write a dissertation, MA dissertation on child sexual abuse, sexual abuse against children. And basically it was a dissertation on pedophilia, but also touched on trafficking. And so I was trying to raise awareness on that. And in fact, it's these people on Facebook that triggered me to rewrite and to reread and to research the subject again. And where it took me is that I wrote a lot before on child marriage. Because child marriage is, it since the 2000, but, 2017, I think, but it's incorporated with human trafficking. Child marriage now is incorporated with human trafficking with a UN figure and so forth. So what you learn about child marriage is that it's rampant in so many poor countries. And of any obedience, there are poor countries that are mostly Muslim and poor countries that are mostly Christian. What you realize is that, for example, the UN child rights, the Convention for Children's Rights, it's been signed by every single country that sit at the UN. It means 190 countries. They all signed it. The only countries that didn't sign it was the US and Somalia. Somalia, you can understand why it's very unstable and so forth. And the US, some people say that, so they've got an excuses for this. They say, oh, look, you know, your paper on children's rights, it's nice, but it's not enough for us. We have got much more higher standards. But this is only a cover. It's a cover story. Why it was like that? That is because in the US, you've got, for a rich country, an unbelievable high child marriage as well. You know that in half of a US state, there is no real minimum to marry children. So people under 18. So even you can technically, legally, you can marry people under 16. Just need a signature of a parent and signature of a judge. It means that in communities where, well, maybe you've got poverty, that is very much drive for it, just like in poor countries. But also you've got communities that does it as a kind of cultural habit or bias or even aim, or I don't know. So they have children, and what they want is to make sure they are married before 18. So so the banner on that, I've got a concern is that a lot of people work on Facebook, and Facebook is a platform that is very elusive. But you post and you work, and it's true, it's very dynamic, and you can learn a lot. But on Facebook, all that information will go. You know, when you scroll, at one point you scroll for 5 minutes and the information is gonna disappear, the page is bugging. Also, you can't categorize your information. So there's information that are primordial and that are crucial, but now they will be on the 107 page where you never be able to scroll back and never be able to find back. And also what happened on Facebook and so forth when information becomes crazy because they call that information by click. So you are clicking on what is sound the most amazing, and you need more and more clicks, so you need more and more story and so forth. Well, what happened is a situation like with QAnon. Where the information, what in fact disinformation, where you have a topic like child sexual trafficking that is really real in the US, because in the US, so this is a state figure, this is a US figure, is 300,000 children a year in the US might be victim away on another of sexual trafficking. 300,000, yes.
So I had a question. I know that we had a guest previously that was speaking to it, and just the words when I posted that her video was going to include trafficking, they blocked it off Facebook. Like they don't, that word itself made it that it was not to be on Facebook.
I know a little bit of what might happen. Alors, of course, what is amazingly problematic is that on platform like Facebook, there is a lot of censorship going on. Yes. Basically, there is something where they are called platform, and they shouldn't be called platform. They should be called publisher, because a platform is a place where everyone goes and posts what that they want, and after, if they've got a problem with the law, they've got a problem with the law. But this guy, in fact, Facebook and others are in a position that I don't envy them for that, because they are pressured by removing content, you know. No, if you leave that 5 minutes and there's someone that is gonna go online and kill people live, it's gonna be your fault, or, you know, or very recently, I think it's yesterday, they were talking about Facebook leaving but child pornography on their site and so forth, yes. But the problem is that everyone say to them, you better remove the content that are not legal, yeah? And they remove and they remove and they remove, but what they remove, they will remove also posts that are totally freedom of expression, but there is many accounts that have been removed just like that, arbitrarily, we would say, and many comments. I mean, in media, just LinkedIn and so forth. On YouTube, I don't think it's that much, but I think we almost have all an experience of, you know, you post a content, and you come because you were hoping to create a debate or something, and your comment has just disappeared like this, yes, and it's very arbitrary, and we don't know what was happening. What I know is that they hit QAnon groups. That is to say, if you said, maybe even because it's algorithm, so even if you mention QAnon too many times, you were
And
Yeah.
you go ahead, Roy. I've got a question after that.
Okay, you mentioned pedophilia. Here in the U.S., there's people starting to wake up to how big and how bad pedophilia is, how entrenched it is in our government, the entertainment industry, everything here. So, like you said, anything you do to get that message out, you're going to be censored here in the U.S. They have keywords. If you mention those keywords, you're out. You know, there's major censorship going on here, and they here in the U.S. that Article 230 protection that Facebook, Twitter, and all those platforms have, there's a movement now to take away that protection, change them from a platform to a publisher for the specific reason of protecting free speech.
That is to say, with a right of accumulating any post without censorship, without any censorship. Is me? I think that, but of course we are always. It's always dangerous because wherever the censorship is coming, wherever it's the public or the state that does it or a company, of course it's is very dangerous. But there is too much censorship or too little. Mm-hmm. But I think that what is happening with pedophilia, yeah, is that you've got this guy that disseminate rape against children, sexual abuse children, and they exchange thousands and thousands of documents, and for some reason, because there is not, because of VPN, they manage, you know, to blur the path, and but police doesn't even intervene. There is places where they don't even investigate. They ask, is researcher who says this, is that instead of, I mean, you know, you don't have to go far to find and here it's, I guess that President like Trump did it really worse for everyone, is trafficking, sexual trafficking against children. A lot is protected officially through pornography.
Oh.
Yeah, because pornography is the sex industry that is counted as sex industry. Pornography, it's legal, totally legal. So you've got lobby of pornography lobbying, and it's like the pornography industry is like $1 billion industry. It's $1 billion. And what we know in gender studies is that pornography, a bit like acting, I mean, but much more like is that, you know, there's this debate on and on saying, oh, but you know, you don't get past 20 years in acting or something. You are not represented as an older adult, whatever. It's a bit. But in what we know in pornography is that purposefully the people who take part on it, the girls more than the boys, but the women have to look very young. The younger they look, the better it is. And speaking of which, one day I was looking for something completely else. I want to say it because I'm against pornography, so it's why I'd like to say it. I was searching on a woman that was competing for Miss France, and just a search, and all of a sudden, a pornography site appear on the list, just like this, just popped, just like this. And the image, so it's not the darknet. It's what I was saying, is that I've been amazed because I've been researching sexual abuse against children for a very, very long time. And of course, I didn't want to get involved in picture and so forth because I didn't want to get involved like this. But I research academically, yeah? But for a very long time. And for me, from what I was reading, is that so it's rather recent phenomenon. Also, it's why we need to talk a lot about it, because what is recent is this online thing, the dissemination of material, and also how easy it is to get it. Because for me, underage pornography, it was the darknet. It's what I thought, yeah. And in fact, you can type on the net, like any computer in the world, your computer, you can type pornography, just add young, yeah. And the picture you can see, it is very, very, very clear that they are young girls. They are under 18. And if they are not anyhow, it's all of scenery. It is to do for them to appear longer. But I promise you, there is picture on there. It is very clear they are under 18, and it's not on a darknet. It's on the net. I report the two sites. To the police. Of course, I didn't have anything, but I don't even want to come back to them, because it's the absolutely sign that they absolutely don't care about that. You know, I was in this idea that, okay, they've got a problem. It's VPN. The people will hide their IP address, so okay, they can't even be found. But the academic will tell you, oh, no, in fact, they ask not the police, it's not the police doing it, it's the provider. So if you are on Google, Google has the duty to close your site. Mm-hmm. They don't even have to report to the police, they just close your site. That's all. And then you realize that these pictures are in fact on the net, just one click away. And also we have it, for example, in the UK, where young girls have been trafficked. It was in 2015, like 100 of them. Yeah, they went to the police. They complained. The family tried to complain and so forth. And basically, they said, you know, your daughter, they had behavior at risk. They use drug. Because trafficking is very, very linked with drugs consumption. Of course, because you destroy individual this way, and you lose your the self, or you go into dramatic mental illness, and after all, they are children. Yeah, and the police said, and to them, like 100 of them, yeah. It's something. It's on the internet, UK, Birmingham, and the police did nothing. Complete neglect. They say to the girls, you know, go back to your home, and behavior at risk. Basically, they dare say that at 13. Under drug consumption, the girls were giving consent to be raped by 10 men. Basically, it's what it was boiling down. And it's after 100 girls in the UK. 2015 is near. There's one scandal. It was near Oxford. It was the Oxfordshire, yeah. 100 girls before someone reacted.
So when you started researching pedophilia, which that's a pretty dark rabbit hole to go down, so to speak. You know, when you started getting into that, you know, I would think for me it would be hard once you start learning all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be hard to keep going, you know, because that stuff is so dark that most people just can't comprehend it.
And trafficking.
Yeah, but and yeah, the thing is that you balance the harm, because it's hard. But if you know that in reality it happens to people and it happens to children, then you have to man up, yeah. And what I think it's happening, and this is I guess it's a real risk. It's one or the other. Is that me on purposefully I didn't expose myself to imagery, yeah. So it was I said it was very academic, the information I was, but yes, you I mean, of course, it's you can get mentally to deal with this thing is maddening. And on top is of course there is the primary crime. But there is something else, is what when the crime, you can see that it is done with impunity. And then recently I was watching a woman and she was talking about being abused by someone rather high in the church, and not high but reverend or something like this. And she said, she's been abused. He was a married man. She's been abused by him. And the reaction of the church was to say to her, bon, you know, you are not anymore welcome in the church. Yeah, and this guy went to another church, and apparently he resumed his abuse against children. And what she said is that, you know what, I don't know what is worse. And I think she knew what is only rhetorical, is that the abuse this guy I suffer from him, or in fact, when someone, the whole community say to you, oh, you know, we don't want you at church, and then they make sure that he can go on with it and get away with it, yeah. So but this is human rights at large, because when you deal with victim injustices and so forth, where there's always more coming, and we are in a system that is an exploitative system. That is to say, you know, that you will make your best to stop it, but you will have so much hurdle, and it's why it's maddening, really. Yes, it's
very challenging because of all of the power that's behind a lot of this stuff that's going on. And, you know, it's not that easy to just say, stop it. And the government, you know, with the power that's behind it, it's also difficult, like the government. It's just all intertwined sort of kind of thing. So, I mean, I really give it, you know, I commend you for what you're doing. And, you know, like you said, we have to man up. And there's a lot of us that just stay silent because we're too afraid to man up, because there's
yes, but yeah. But when you see the government, but I admit I have to say yes, because there is the police neglect. And also, and this is in all countries, you don't need a scandal for it. It's reported in statistic and so forth. Majoritarily, who is trafficked is children coming from the foster care industry. And the foster care industry, well, you know, when you know them, they are not trying to educate children. They are not, you know, it's like in any maybe a lot of different profession is that you only have to attain some targets, and the rest you just leave it. And the aim is not to make sure that these people get work and got educated and they are left. They've got, so you've got in social care, you've got kids, but I've got so much problem. They had so many problem at home, and then they are together and they abscond and they do drugs. And to make sure they have a bit of money, they do crimes. And at 18, boom, they are out. And it's this whole system of, fueled by unemployment. Trafficking is fueled by unemployment as well. And
frightening out there. I know you hear about it, and like I said, there is the censorship. It's too bad too, just going back quickly to Facebook, that they really don't read what's in there. If it's information, and it's not, even the one that we put on there, I think it was just like that our guest had experienced it. Just that alone, it should be okay to be set out there because you're educating, but they take everything off. They're not even letting you educate others on, this is the precautions that you might can do. And that's what disturbs me. I understand that they have to censor, but they're not even reading what they're censoring. It's automatically, it's a word there and it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't have that opportunity.
And you find yourself in a very amusing situation where you've got a video that is like misogyn, racist, neo-colonialist, whatever you want, yeah? And you are just super hungry and you just say a little word like, with your guts, basically, and you and you are deleted while the video is still standing. So it's amusing, but yes, but there is me. I admit that. So I'm terrorized by censorship because anyway, even in literature, you have to consider that everything is in the human mind. It's okay if it's written. When it's not okay, it's when it's aimed at harming other. But basically, with movement like QAnon, is that there is something very, very problematic with things like with children, because children is the future of a nation. Is also caste or class are reproduced. Is the next workers and the next producers and so forth, and also the problem with accusing someone with pedophilia. We saw it with QAnon when they say who does this? Well, it's the Democrats, for example. I think boiling it down is what they were saying. So I imagine someone that is fueling themselves on lying and setting conspiracy theory, and they would come to me and they would say, I know you are a pedophile, I know you abuse children, and then they hang you for that. But even as you are innocent, I mean, you know what I mean, is that it's a so damning accusation, and it's so a serious crime, but we've got this imbalance where you can accuse anyone of anything, and the other side, there's human trafficking as networks working. There is this. I have to really read more about in the US, there's something called Pornhub, and basically it's on the net, and even without this, it's pervasive on the net. We know it. It's they do it on the net. They sell women.
Oh, geez.
but it's unbelievable. Me, I admit, I know that thanks to Facebook. If not, I wouldn't. But this is in the US. I don't think we've got a lot of that in Europe. Having said that, it's in Europe. You can access pornography with clearly younger. And what they did is that they abuse people, like in the dark web. They abuse people. So basically, a girl have sex with someone. It is filmed, and it's on the internet. And you ask this porn website they ask them. They say you have to remove the video. You have to remove this video, and no one remove the video. So
yeah, I'll refuse. Wow. I'm sure that there is so much more to discuss on this, but thank you so much for enlightening us in regards to that. And Cetvies, can you let people know where to find your blog and such?
Yes, alors Cetvies, it's so that's my pen name. My main blog is in the name of humanrights.com.
In the name of humanrights.com, perfect. And they can find you on Facebook as well, you said?
Yes, on Facebook, but it's not. I'm just here because it's good to be here, and also to share a few things. But it's my blog. It's in the name of human rights.
It's the most important.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
Really appreciate having you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was delightful. And with knowledgeable question, but you have me because on online it's a research on its own. In fact, what is happening and it's unbelievable. Me, I would urge you to have a look and to find our full online grooming as well. And what I think is so surprising is that it's an emergent thing. And also we've got, just as a word of caution, because we might enter, we know with ice that is melting and forests that are logging, virus will certainly logically come alive, yeah? And pedophiles call, if you close a school, then the children are outside, or they are not right. They are not with their parents because their parents work, because you can't look after maybe yes, you can look after 24. How awful it must be to be a parent that work, or impossible even to look after your child when you have to go to work. And also because when school closed, pedophiles call that harvest time.
Oh my.
Yes. And online, because of course you work, your kid is on his computer, and they manage to infiltrate they pose as teenagers and so forth. And a kid is a kid, yes.
Yeah. So they're believers. They have a lot more trust.
Yeah.
So
and experience that. Children is yes, you are candid at this age and so forth, and drugs, and also yes, and drugs.
So I would imagine that there's information about that on your website again that they can find out. So please listeners, and visit that. And thank you again, Cetvies, for this wonderful information.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.